So, first things first, let's talk to Shale.
I see it found some augmentation crystals. I was
I
not
did?
even aware it knew about them. Well done. So, what does it think? They don't make me look any wider, do they? I find them already too wide as it is.
Why do I have a feeling that Shale might be a woman? Usually men don't ask that. Usually women are the ones who most likely ask that. Like, they don't make me look any wider, do they? You know, I sometimes there are men that just don't care if it does. I rarely hear a guy go, "It doesn't make me look any wider, do they?" So, no. They're quite slimming.
It must be the vertical pattern it put them in. Did it know to do that? It must have. I think it should find some more as soon as possible. I want to glitter from ear to ear, so to speak.
He wants it. You know what? It very well may be a she. I want to glitter from ear to ear. I don't ever. Well, I'm just saying. I'm guessing that Shale is a she. That Shale is a woman. What's with the heavy sighs?
Oh, that. Merely reflecting on the hopeless nature of the task in front of it. The most likely outcome is that it and its companions will become a stain on some rock for the Darkspawn to tread upon.
Oh, gee,
I shall
thanks.
be moved to a single tear by the tragedy.
Oh, a single tear. Oh, I'm so glad that to know that you care at least.
It's true. One single tear, and then it's off to the north, I think. Or maybe west. I haven't decided. What's that?
Single tear,
Did it hear
and then
flapping
off
wings?
I go.
There may be pigeons nearby. We should be alert.
We're in a Hitchcock movie. The birds. The birds. Nah, just kidding. Shale is terrified of birds. You know, I would have expected golems to be a bit different.
Different? Different than what? Different than a statue? Different than a log? Should I talk in a monotone? Yes, master, I exist to serve the master. I shall kill for the master and only for the master. Perhaps it expected me to have a booming voice. Recite limericks. I can recite limericks, if it likes.
Really? Are they dirty limericks?
Mostly they involve slaughtering pigeons in creative and invasive manners.
Oh gosh.
I have never met another golem. I have no idea what one might be like, or why I wouldn't be like them. Why? Has it met other golems? Did they not sound as I do?
I was kind of hoping maybe there'd be a dwarf-specific answer that could be here, but I guess the Prince of Aidukin never encountered a golem during his time in Orzammar. You just seem very animated.
I don't know what other golems might be like, but I am already superior by virtue of my free will. This is a good thing.
Yes, it is. I agree, being a golem would be handy.
Imagine the benefits. No need to eat or sleep or perform other functions. Walk underwater, crush the heads of every opponent. Possibilities are limitless. Barring the occasional 30 years or so of paralysis, there's little to compare. Now stop talking so much. The wagging of its moist little tongue is distracting.
+6. I have some questions.
It doesn't have better things to do.
Are those crystals in your
I
skin?
like to think of them as accessories.
What do they do?
I suspect that it is an art that was practiced when golems were more, commonplace. My former master collected whatever lore he could find on the subject. He searched far and wide to collect what crystals he could and then added them. It is not an unpleasant sensation.
So it's a dwarven thing then.
So I would assume. My former master enjoyed poking around the ruins in the deep roads after all, and bartering with others who did. As I understand it, the crystals allow me to alter the flow of magic around me. Wilhelm had hoped to turn me into a battery of mana, something he could tap at will.
So it wasn't Wilhelm, it was Wilhelm. I see. Huh. Did he succeed?
Not really. Although now that I think of it, these attempts may be what caused my disruption. Some of the crystals increase the presence of mana, some absorb or reflect spells. There are various kinds. All I can promise is that should it ever find one of these crystals, I can likely tell it the function and what it would do if added to me.
In the description. Would you be willing to have more added?
Why not? I don't get to wear clothing and other adornments like the rest of you creatures after all. That answers its question, I assume? Unless it has more.
So I'm told you killed your former master.
Did I not already tell it that I do not remember doing such? I remember having a master. My memories of what happened to him are vague.
Vague, but non-existent.
Clever and true. Oh, very well. Let me see what I can recall. My former master enjoyed experimenting upon me. I remember that much. There was tinkering with spells, and then the crystals. He was very eager to alter my function, I think.
Alter you? Why? You're fine as you are.
Flattery. And obvious flattery, too. I feel warm and fuzzy inside. He possessed my control rod, and back then, it would have prevented me from doing anything he did not command me to, no matter how I might have wished to. So what happened? I am unsure. He was experimenting, and then nothing.
So he hit the kill me button by accident?
Oh, ho, ho. It does like to laugh, does it? But who knows? I may have such a thing. And then he was gone. I was standing where I was, in the village, and I could no longer move. The villagers came, poked and prodded me in fear, and then realized they could neither move me nor destroy me. So they simply left me. And in time, I forgot I hadn't stood there all along.
But you wanted to kill him, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Very much so. So many years I'd had to leap to that little toadstool's every command. Get this, pick up that, put it down, pick it up again. The gall. At first, I'd hoped he'd simply decided to leave me there paralyzed. An acceptable trade-off. After years passed, I simply stopped caring.
Maybe it has something to do with your crystals.
Possibly. Except that he was not experimenting with the crystals at the time, I think. But my memory is not good. It may be correct. Whatever the mage did seemed to render the control rod useless, for which I should be thankful, yes? And provided it doesn't decide to copy his experiments, not that I would allow it, it is nothing to fear from me. Much.
I was simply curious about the story.
And now it knows, and doesn't it feel better? Let us get back to the walking and the fighting. My stone is beginning to itch again.
+8. It's you again.
It doesn't have better things to do.
So how did you end up in Honleith in the first place? Do you remember?
Oh, yes. That I remember quite well. My former master, the mage Wilhelm, he brought me.
Wilhelm.
As I recall, he had acquired some position with whatever lord ruled the land. I, being little more than a glorified possession at the time, was brought along. Oh, how he enjoyed impressing the villagers with me. Gollum, snarl at that villager there, be fearsome. And of course, I would have to do it.
But why were you out in front of the tower?
That is where Wilhelm kept me. He wanted me out in the open where I could be frightening like a scarecrow. I was supposed to watch for thieves. Pah! Plus, his wife didn't want me indoors. She said there wasn't room for me. Hag.
His wife?
I was once larger, 10 feet tall. Then the
Oh,
loathsome
my.
hag complained that I couldn't fit through the doors. So the mage had me shrunk down, shrunk down. Can it believe it? And she still wanted me out.
The goal! And how does someone shrink a
With a
golem?
chisel. And a lot of nerve.
Oh, man. Oh. I would have thought you'd enjoy scaring humans.
I'd have happily stomped them all into paste. And then ripped down their little houses and stomped on them, too.
He really
In
did not
fact,
like that
after 30
village.
years of watching them, I'd do it twice. What I didn't like was being ordered to do it. Dangled in front of those frightened morons like some scary thing. Once I was a statue, it took those villagers years before they'd even approach me. The first one to actually work up the nerve to touch me urinated himself.
Oh, man. You didn't like this Wilhelm, I take it.
He did love using that control rod. Fondled it so much, his wife actually threatened to throw it in the lake. I would have liked to have seen that. Which reminds me, where did it find the rod? Did it pay a great deal for it?
Wilhelm's wife sold it, I believe.
Hag.
But do you remember anything before Hanley?
I traveled with the mage. He did a lot of traveling, I remember that. But where we went, it is rather fuzzy. I remember great battles, fighting many humans long ago. They were all very soft and squishy. And before that, No, there are only images. I was somewhere dark.
Just how old are you exactly?
I have no idea. Wilhelm used to brag that the dwarves stopped making golems centuries ago. I do not age as you
Oh,
soft
gosh.
creatures do. Sadly, my memory is no better. Plus, I get bored and stop paying attention.
So for all we know, Shale could be hundreds of years old.
Good. I was just about done talking about it. It does like to have a good chat now and again, doesn't it?
Yes, I do. +2.
I've watched a lot of humans in my time. It should be aware that I've decided that it is not much like any of them.
Huh. That's super. Thanks, Shale.
Surely it must come from some superior lineage, yes? Some
come
breed
to-
of flesh
actually,
creature
come to
that has
th-
decided
Now
to
that
elevate
you
its
mention it.
genetic stock above its natural shortcomings.
Well, since you mention it, I am a member of House Saidukin, in fact.
Then that must be it. My experience with dwarves is limited, but obviously I need to encounter more of them. I would appreciate if it didn't spread around that I said anything. Humans might start to get the wrong idea. They might start thinking their race is not completely hopeless.
But I'm not a human, I'm a dwarf. There's a difference. I'll keep it, thanks for the... I'll keep it to myself.
Now, let us crush something into a fine paste before it starts to think I've gone all soft. Perish the thought.
Oh yes, perish the thought.
It
+6.
speaks. It doesn't
more
have better
questions?
things to do.
How did Wilhelm come to acquire you?
That part I know, as Wilhelm often bragged about it to whomever
Wilhelm.
was willing to listen to him. He claimed to have found me in the deep roads. I was in the ruins of a Tig, he said, deactivated, with my control rod not far away.
Huh. In the deep roads, huh? And you don't know why you were there?
I think I remember a battle. It was long before, and then there was darkness. Bah, in short, no, I do not remember why I was there. It makes no difference.
Do you know where in the deep roads this was?
No, that secretive bastard refused to tell me. I would ask and ask, but no. He used to say that one day, if I were compliant and didn't talk back at his wife, he would take me there and I could look around myself.
Oh boy.
Rotten, lying bastard. If I had his head in my hands now, I would squeeze it like a giant lemon. Squish.
Oh gosh. So, what was Wilhelm doing in the deep roads in the first place?
It was a hobby of his, scavenging.
It was?
One of the reasons he traveled so much is that he was looking for entrances into the deep roads, old places the dwarves had long forgotten. And then he would sneak down and search for magical treasure, before anyone was the wiser.
Huh. Wouldn't that have been dangerous?
Indeed. He had spells that allowed him to remain hidden and move quickly, but he had no defense against the blight, and worried constantly that he would get sick. If any darkspawn showed themselves, he fled. More often, he would have to fight other scavengers, dwarves who had become tainted. In the end, it killed him. I mean, he found me there, right?
So if he hadn't found you...
I wouldn't have had to put up with the twit, and I would be none the wiser. I don't think I was aware while I was there. Not like in the village. Or perhaps I was. Perhaps that was the dark place, and I simply couldn't see anything. How long
maybe.
could even I sit in the darkness and stare out at nothing, never sleeping? Oh, I do not wish to think of that.
Wow, I cannot imagine what that would be like. Being conscious the whole time, never being able to sleep, just staring out into nothing but darkness. Oh my gosh. That could drive you nuts.
On then.
Alright, so it looks like that's the end of what I can talk to him for now. But, obviously, Bodan has a gift for him.
You and your friends are formidable. I'm sure.
And that gift is actually a pet rock. Yes, I can give him or her a pet rock. Let's let that wear out. Okay.
Very nice. Very
Alright, now-
nice indeed.
Yep. Let's give this rock a name. You know what? Let's just go something kind of... This may be lame, but I just think... I chuckle when I think of this. There we go. Rocky. Hey, Shale. Yo, Shale.
It speaks.
Let's see if this does anything.
It doesn't have better things to do.
Oh, I forgot to ask him about this. You watched that village day and night for years?
I do not sleep, so yes. And I thank it for reminding me. Try to imagine, if it will, what it would be like to be surrounded by nothing but boring peasants, all oblivious to it.
Sounds like you were a bit of a voyeur.
Oh, yes. It certainly was the height of intrigue to listen to the accounts of how young Dornan had scandalized the village by his purchase of an Orlesian hat. And the argument that those two muddy farmers had over the price of barley for a whole summer. Riveting. And then,
So
the
exciting.
birds. A whole
Oh, the
village full of
birds.
pigeons and ravens and sparrows all perching on me day in and day out.
Oh, no wonder he squished that chicken before we left that village. No wonder he both fears and hates birds. The way they would always perch on him and probably pooped on him. Ugh. I can understand. Sounds a little messy.
Those foolish villagers would spread birdseed near me, drawing the birds, because they thought having birds perch on me was quaint. Quaint! If there hadn't been the occasional kind soul to scour me clean, I would... I don't care to discuss this anymore.
Oh, gosh. Oh, -8 disapproves. Oh. Oh, boy. I don't think there's any more.
It doesn't have better things to do.
You don't seem to like humans much.
That is true. I do not. I'm not interested in getting into a discussion on the subject, however. Ask another time. If it is done asking overly obvious questions, let us find some humans to throw off a cliff or something.
Humans to throw off a cliff. Alright, let's see. I'm curious. Let's see what happens if I get him or her to full approval.
Are you sure I can't?
And this time, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get some thoughtful gifts here. Let's get about 8 sovereigns worth. Alright, let's see if that's enough.
Very nice. Very
Oh yeah,
nice
I bought
indeed.
too many. Woo! What was that, plus 10 for each one? Or something like that? Oh my goodness. Let's see if there's anybody else that needs it. Nope, I just bought too much. Oh,
You have my thanks.
there we go. Stand back up to full. Okay, maybe I'll just store these away for now. Okay, Shale's back to full approval. Or is now up to full approval.
It speaks.
Is there anything
It
else I can ask
doesn't
him?
have better
Or her?
on them.
I can't... I don't know what it is.
Enchantment?
Believe I have a couple of things to enchant. This. Cool damage, huh? Fire damage, You know what? Let me switch this out for the cold damage. There we go. Let's put this there. More fire damage for that. And who's using this? I think Alistair? No, actually that's yeah, Alistair's using this. Okay. That's plus 2 fire damage. Zevran. Let's go ahead and give that for him. There we go. Okay. Look at that. Starfang's now frosty. Okay then. Well, now that we have completed that DLC by having now getting Shale as part of our group, let's check with Mikey. Oh, Mikey relieved himself on an inconspicuous area nearby. Mikey. Yeah, good boy. Alright. I believe there's nothing else. Let's do a quick round here with everybody, just to check.
What say you? By all means.
Nope. Nothing with Zevran.
Ask away.
Nothing with Alistair. Huh. He's got his Templar gear on.
You called.
Sten. Nothing
As you
for
wish.
him. Liliana.
Well, aren't you sweet and attentive?
You know what?
I thought you'd never ask.
Fortunately, they don't show anything anymore here. Look at it. She got down on her knees to kiss me. And this is all they show. Just a sweet little kiss. And that's it. It's nice and sweet. That was funny, though. I didn't notice that before, that she actually had to get down on her knees to try and kiss me because I'm so much shorter than she is. I never noticed that before. That's hilarious.
What's on your mind? I will answer to the best of my...
Nope, nothing. And I know Morgan's not really gonna want to discuss anything. Just it's like, hey, can you go please get rid of Flemeth for me? Now, here's the thing. I mentioned I wasn't ready. Now that I have Shale, who is quite the tank, and if I do me, Shale, Alistair, and Wynn, that's usually, I think, in my mind, that's ideally the best party to take with you if you want to defeat Flemeth. Because Flemeth is really tough, and you're going to want a couple of tanks and a healer if you want to get through that. So... But I'm not really sure if I want to do that right now just yet. I think what I want to do...
Yes.
Yes.
I think what I want to do now, before we consider either going after Flemeth or doing one of the main missions, which we're going to put off the Brazilian outskirts and the Frostback Mountains for a little while. And I think when it comes to the next main mission, we'll focus on Redcliffe. We'll go there. That'll be the next main quest we do. Let me real quick though head back to Soldier's Peak and see if I need to drop off anything before I decide to tackle another quest. Let's see. I could just sell all these. Same with all these here. 38 strength. Okay, no one's ready to equip that yet. Leliana actually would be able to equip this now. Can Alistair equip this now? Nope, not yet. He's got to level up. Alright, so I'll take that, and then I'll give that to Leliana. This is a really nice bow. That's a DLC weapon. And I think maybe, just for the heck of it, I would probably give this to Zevran, even though he's never going to be an archer. He's going to be a two-weapon guy. Let me go ahead and stash Rocky there. And these, I can sell the rest of that. These, however, I'll go ahead and stash away. Same with these. I need to go to Denerim with these Drake scales. Maybe that's what I'll do next. I'll have
What can I do
have
for
that
you,
be
Warden?
going while I do the next thing. So let me sell these. Oh, don't want to sell that. All these things. Oh, I never gave this to anybody. That's for a mage. Willpower and mental resistance. That's really good. Okay, that's it. I never thought about giving a... How does this compare to what Wynn already has? Let's see. Willpower, mental resistance, or magic. I'll stash this away here. It's better than what Wynn already had. Alright, so now let me go back to camp so I can give that bow to Leliana. Okay. Here we go. Yes. So much better. There we go. As for him, get him the Wild's bow. Okay, so I think what I'll do next, actually, is go to Denerim, since I need to deliver those Drake scales. And then I think we will tackle the next DLC quest, which will feature us returning to Ostagar. Stay tuned for that.